Welcome to another edition of Tao of the Day. It is, I'm going to send out this email. I didn't press send. So it is Tuesday because that's the day I send out emails. And it is 8 a.m. here in Central Time. So it is time for Tao of the Day. Tao of the Day is a regular talk that I do. I'm Martin John, your host, and this is where you come up, pick a number between 1 and 81, and I will read that chapter of the Tao Te Ching. That's your Tao for the day. If you are listening, everybody can gain from the Tao. The Tao translates to the canon of reason. This is all about living a reasonable life, living a life that is centered around reason and centered around trying to be uh, better as you are right now. Of course, we all want to get better. We all want to have like expanding and strong lives. And the Tao helps us do that. It helps us do that by not looking outside of ourselves and being victims. It allows us to embrace who we are, how we are, when we are. I put out an email today all about the Tao of poo. the Tao, the Tao of poo is a conversation I've been having a lot with Catherine Mahoney, who's here. She loves the Tao of poo, and I talk about, and in that email we talked a little bit about one of the real tenements of what the Tao Te Ching talks about, and that is that you can't outsmart life. So many of us in our world really like to be smart, really like to be crafty, really like to try and take shortcuts and really look at destinations, but there are none. There's not a single destination in your life. And if there is one, then it's your death. You don't want to be rushing to that. You want to be enjoying the now, no matter what that is, no matter what it brings. There's a quote in one of the Tao, in the Stephen Mitchell translation, which is, she knows who she is, and so let me see if I can find it. Yeah, she doesn't cling to her own comfort. Thus problems are no problem for her. And that really kind of wraps up this idea that you don't cling to your comfort. You don't cling to what you know. You don't cling to anything. That's chapter 63. I'm going to go ahead and read chapter 63 because I don't have anybody coming up. And I'm going to read chapter 63 from a different book. We're going to read it from a different translation. So, chapter 63 reads, "Keep still. Don't work so hard. Learn to appreciate every day. Pay attention to details. Start small and work your way up. When people give you trouble, let it slide. Break everything down to its essentials. Get the job done before it becomes a chore. When the right with the right preparation, difficult tasks can be completed very easily. Every major project consists of simple steps. The master does not take on more than they can handle, which is why they can do just about anything. Don't promise more than you can deliver, and don't underestimate the task. You'll only make things harder for yourself. The master The masters are always aware of the difficulties involved, which is why they never have to deal with them. It was chapter 63 from the Ron Hogan, who I believe Erica introduced that to me yesterday. Um, what a really nice sort of down to earth translation this is. It doesn't overcomplicate in its text, and still it does keep us to the general understanding of what the text is trying to get across. So I picked 63. I'm going to go ahead and start going through this line by line. If you have a number kind of screaming in your heart, definitely step up and let me know. Keep still. Don't work so hard. Learn to appreciate everyday life. Pay attention to details. Start small and work your way up. When people give you trouble, let it slide. I really like this. Let it slide. When people give you trouble, let it slide. This is on the this is in the living reasonable, as I was speaking of earlier. Daryl's going to join me. Daryl, how you doing, man?
Good. How you doing, Martin John?
I am doing very well indeed. Have I don't know that we have interacted before.
I know it's crazy, isn't it? I mean, I have such respect for the content you produce, and I've heard you everywhere, but we just haven't had the. It just hasn't connected all this time. So it's cool.
Yeah, I know. I've peered in on some of your rooms, but then there have been times where it's just been like, don't have the time, don't have the space. So,
Yeah,
but no, definitely have a lot of respect for what you're producing as well.
yeah. So then it seems like the number I'm supposed to see is 44. I don't know why, but
44. Since you're new, we're gonna go straight to the. You don't know. We never know why, but we'll find out on the other side.
okay.
um. So 44. I'm gonna be reading the Stephen Mitchell version. Stephen Mitchell is my kind of go-to translation. I have a number of
Okay.
translations. If you're interested in ever getting a translation, shoot me a DM in Instagram, and I'll send you links to over 100. So if you are interested in this translation or others, always and everybody is always welcome to shoot me a message on Instagram, and I'll send it over. Okay, so 44. What we're going to do is we're going to read it through. I mean, depending on if you know, I'm just going to explain it because you're new on the
Mhm.
stage. So I'm going to read it through all the way, get a kind of initial feedback, and then we'll go through it line by line.
Okay.
All right, sounds good. Fame or integrity, which is more important? Money or happiness, which is more valuable? Success or failure, which is more destructive? If you look to others for fulfillment, you will never be truly fulfilled. If your happiness depends on money, you will never be happy with yourself. Be content with what you have. Rejoice in the way things are. When you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you.
Wow. Yeah. That's really good. Yeah, I felt almost like Spirit was trying to show me that number very, very deeply as soon as I got onto your room here, and it is very funny because I am a super go getter financially. I am always looking for, you know, helping others and things like that. So I am always in all of those categories. And I've, talked to Dr. Rao on here and different people here, Asanya, about, just the being, right? Just the being. And I always feel restless about just only being like, that's really cool because I kind of have heard a lot of people I respect on here talk about investing in the being, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, so much else is can can lead to being short-sighted,
Hmm.
you know. So when we start going through this line by line, we look at these first three, and fame or integrity, which is more important? Really hard to argue that, right?
Is it sane or same?
Fame, like fame, I'm gonna live forever.
Oh, fame or integrity? Ah, interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a good song.
Yeah.
You got me there. That was good.
I was like, I don't know how else to say it. I guess I
Yeah,
could spell it, but like
yeah,
the first way I could express it was just
yeah.
sing it.
I know. You
Come on
haven't
now.
heard that song in ages. That's
Yeah.
funny. Yeah.
So
So
yeah,
fame or
fame
integrity?
or integrity, which is more
Huh.
important?
Wow. Well, integrity is most important.
Right. Right. Absolutely. But we live in a world right now where that's constantly up for grabs, right?
Yeah.
We live in
Yeah.
a
I
world
mean,
where like
fame. I think
go,
fame is just a byproduct of being attractive to people to work with. Like, I don't know, I've worked in radio for 30 years, so I had decent, not a ton of fame, but just, a lot of people knew me, and I had large audiences, and so it wasn't that I had a lack of, that kind of thing, identity with fame, but um, the integrity part has always been a huge piece for me. Is always having the living in that space of truth, and living in that space of truth with our partners, with my partners and people I work with, um, on both sides of the table, both the customers and the people that are the doers,
Right.
in my business. And so, super super important integrity for that. Um,
Yeah.
so a lot, every single thing you mentioned, like, goes through my, it gives me the chills because there's a lot of things in there.
Yeah. And that next line is money or happiness, which is more valuable? Like
Mm.
in this translation, understanding how he chose that word, how he chose, to translate the words, because we're dealing with English here, right? And so
Hmm.
there are limits. So when we say fame or integrity, which is more, and he chose the word important, and then money or happiness, which is more valuable.
Mm.
When we start talking about what is the value of happiness.
Yeah, it is more valuable because all the money in the world would just to be buying happiness and security and peace and that.
And when you reach out to buy those things, they are so they're so attached to addiction, they're attached to all of this other kind of bodily stuff, but there's also that like fleeting nature of it. Like when you buy something, you don't
Mhm.
buy the buying of it is what brings that happiness, because it's a drug. I mean,
Mhm.
ultimately, like it's a behavioral sort of, it
Mm.
gives you that rush. And then, if you buy security, and I talk about this in my workshops as well, it's like if you buy security, i.e., a security camera or an alarm
Mhm.
system or whatever,
Financial security too, like,
even financial
yeah.
security, yeah. But the more you lean on money, the more you clench, and the more
Mm.
you look at it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so it dwindles so quickly. Like for a time, you might have a $300,000 a year job, and for a time you feel secure because you're like, I got more now. But then eventually you're back to where you started. Even though it's so much more than the $50,000 a year job, you're just kind of like, how can I get more? How can it's how
Yeah.
Gabor explains, in The Hungry Ghost. It's a ghost that can eat forever.
Oh yeah, I love that. Wow.
And it's something that you can't
That's
grapple with.
that's an affirmation thing with my self-worth. Sometimes I need that, hungry ghost of, affirmation that people appreciate what I'm doing, how I'm serving them. And so it's a motivator for good, but it's also can be too extreme.
Right. And that's the big question. Like it's a motivator for you to do something,
Hmm.
you know, but is
Or
that
live
then
live in a
what's that?
certain way, like to live in a certain way of service to others for an exchange of appreciation, right? And for making an impact, a positive impact, like through and through. Like that's really like an important mindset for me. Um, but I think what you said was it really spoke to me. That
Yeah.
really was good.
And we move into this next line, success or failure, which is more destructive.
That one's a
And that
puzzle.
that really that's a sobering thought.
That is really interesting because I've always thought that, sign me up for failures because I grow from them.
Right.
And success itself, in its own sense, um, is almost like a letdown.
Hmm. Hmm. But when we look at these when we look at this, once again, we look at the translation, and we have to pick out that word destructive. Like that was the choice that, as to, because this is a translation, there's a lot of different
Mm-hmm.
ways of translating things. Like Stephen Mitchell decided to use the word destructive here, and I think if we were to look at another translation, I'm going to open up another translation really quickly, um, of 44. Which is more dangerous, winning or losing? Like that one, I think utilizes a lot of what Stephen Mitchell was doing. Let's see, 44. Um, Gain or loss, which is more painful? See, like that's a very different way of looking at it, and it really kind of puts us down a different path. That's a different way of translating it. Gain or loss, which is more painful? Because painful is something that you want to avoid, and that one intrinsically looks like loss is the more painful. But here, when we say success or failure, which is more destructive, and we look at the world and how many of our successes have destroyed us.
Mm.
Cars, everybody went out and said, we just want people to be able to get around. Planes, we just
Mm-hmm.
want people to be able to get overseas. Like we are helping the world. Success, success, success. Which is more destructive?
Interesting.
And that brings up, like, so many of us want to help the world.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something that, like I have as, as a follower of the Tao Te Ching, as a text, I'm always like, nope, you can't do it. You can't help the world.
I've never seen a number come through so powerful as that 44 today. It
No.
was weird. It was really weird. It was like several inner voices saying 44, 44, and a big 44. I was like, whoa. I
Yeah.
saw it, felt it, everything. That's really cool.
And this is how the Tao of the Day works. So so then we
Yeah.
move on to this next section, which says, if you look to others for fulfillment, you will never be truly fulfilled. If your happiness depends on money, you will never be happy with yourself. Earlier you were talking about how, it was this exchange.
Mm-hmm.
Like you do and then you get.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look to others for that fulfillment, you will never be truly fulfilled.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. It's hard
Oh
because
man.
I've had a whole life of this expectant cause and effect, you know.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, but, you know, the more I understand quantum, the more I understand that, cause and effect is, historical reverse engineering, not future, um, co- you know, the way things work. In the future, things can be a whole lot of curvy lines versus these direct lines. And,
Right. Yeah.
and
The
so,
80s really brought us up in this idea of regular progress
mm-hmm,
and structure in terms of growth, and that's not real. It was a good sales point,
yeah.
but it's not the way things really work.
Alex P. Keaton.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So so then this last section is, be content with what you have, rejoice in the way things are. When you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you. And I want to point out, as we were talking earlier, when you realize there is nothing lacking, your your kind of approach of doing your talks and your radio and your history and the way that you did it, like there was always this, I need to add something to fix and to help.
For sure. Yeah.
But if we
That has
can
been a
take that
lifeline
step,
thread.
but if
Yeah.
we can take that step and realize that there is nothing lacking, it's not about there's nothing lacking with me. There is nothing lacking. When you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you.
I'm gonna have to listen to this a few times. This is good.
Thank you for coming up. This was a really beautiful one, and I'm really glad that it resonated so strongly with you. I mean, obviously, you bring up the number, and that's everything. That number that you say, and I've never seen a chapter um, not resonate with the person who chose it.
It is incredible. Well, it's so nice to finally talk to you, and it's crazy. We've both been on this app since probably October, right? And um, it's just been, I think, mutual appreciation. But the time was today.
The time was today. Thank you so much, Daryl. I appreciate you coming on. If you want to land that plane, I'll let you come in and do that. I'll give you a couple seconds to jump in if you wanted to, and then then I'll move on to Dr. Rao. And then I do have someone else in the queue. I didn't see who it was.
Oh
Go ahead.
yeah, yeah. Dr. Rao is an inspiration, just to say about the exact same things, because he's been talking and pounding me to think of it just the way that this reading just did. But thank you so much. It's been, like I said, mutual admiration, I think, and I just see how powerful this is just through my own experience. So thank you so much for today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, take care.
So everybody knows there are three people in the queue after Dr. Rao. Dr. Rao doesn't often pick a number, so we're going to go ahead and just hear what he has to say and move on. Dr. Rao, how are you, my friend?
Hi, Martin. Very good. How are you?
I am doing very well. I'm doing very well. That Daryl joined me, and we picked 44, and it was
Yeah,
right up
yeah,
his
yeah.
alley.
I was hearing that, and then yeah, it's an ongoing conversation we all have, right? So it's a nice one, nice conversations we have. One thing I wanted to comment on was that no lack of status that is available to everybody,
Yeah,
and then once you have, you see what he said. Once you have no lack, you have everything.
that's right.
That is what it is, the psychological independence that we all have, that state in seed form, you know. Then we kind of cover it up with a lots of so-called lacks, right? And then we say we don't have it, we want to run after it.
Yeah.
So kind of unlayering of what we are, and that state is where uh, they call that purnam. Purnam means completely perfect. It
Hmm.
is forever fulfilling, and that is available to the human beings because we have this conscious thought. You can unlayer whatever layers that we have covered us, either because our childhood, schooling, conditioning, society, history, all the rigmarole of the thought. Once you have uncovered it, that means you are not being driven by the thought thinking that is lack. Even
Yeah.
self realization. It,
Yes.
it was very very striking to me, very surprising to me when they said you are already realized, but you think you are not. That's why you have to invent systems of yoga, systems of whatever thing is there. But then if you look at it, at the end of it, Tao or Brahman or anything, they are
That's
there.
right.
They are there. And then they are not of thought. They are like a insightful, pointing it out to us. Hey, there's no lack in you. You think you are lacking. So if you really identify there's lack situation within us, not imagining it, not saying denying it, that will be not integrity, but really facing what we are. The what I believe the ancients did was they evoluted into that because they don't have these external cravings that much. In the modern age, we have done that. You have to understand where they really, appropriate or not. But I think to an extent where these nefarious forces that want for their greed, for their profit, they kind of encourage these things as though they are real. Some of
Yes.
some of the people who are really tormented, like a lot of our friends who wants to realize, but they don't know how to go about it. They want to make money, but they don't know how to go free of the money making craving. Even if you have the money, what do you do with that? Also is a problem. So if you start with the thing like, hey, there is a perfection in me in the terms of life force that creates the life for everybody is there, and that itself is very fulfilling. And if you can stay there, then the layers of thought, emotion, aspiration, desires, all those things can be put in their perspective, so they won't be bothering us.
That's right.
I mean, you want the basic needs, fine. But why is the psychological desire of having so much against somebody else not having it? That's an entire world phenomena. 25% of the people, we are also guilty of that, are enjoying all the fruits of the resources of 75% of the earth. That
Yeah.
means 75% of people don't have this much. We
Right.
don't we don't feel bad about it because we are happy and comfortable.
That's
but
right. That's right.
but once we realize that, then say, okay, I can do with less. I can give more to other people. That kind of thing automatically comes. But basically, this is what really driven me very much was when I read that these ancient yogis and rishis, they were contented and happy in themselves, and they started with that, and then went about in life achieving whatever they have achieved in an extraordinary way. One guy wrote 30,000 poems. One guy wrote so many books that you can't really understand how he could write such a depth, so many 154 I think works, that were each work one sentence, Martin, you can spend time like Dow also. You can say one thing that you talked about, Darren. Life is there, everything is there,
Mhm.
right? One thing, all the struggles, all our aspirations, all our ambitions, everything is there. And it's not like a feeling like this just because we have them we are guilty. No, we have to understand what kind of situation has led to this kind of interior for us. And then
Right.
we all individually trying to get out of it because intuitively we feel, hey, there's much more peace than this. Hey, there is much more contentment than this. There is more fulfillment than I'm thinking in things.
Yeah.
So I
And
think
it's
you,
so much. It's all a part of
yeah,
it. Even
yeah,
even the discontentedness is a part of the
yeah, exactly,
growth.
exactly.
And it's okay to be that, but we
Yeah,
have to also be aware
yeah.
that that's happening.
The thing is, we'll realize after a while there is no growth or anything. We are already grown. We are already in there. To realize that, we kind of say the growth. That is our struggle. We term it as growth.
Right.
Come back to the normal, come back to the original, is like kind of taking away the layers we talked about. And that is the struggle because we kind of allowed ourselves to be in the room where we accumulated everything. All we have to do is take away the things that don't belong in the room, then we have the space.
Yeah.
But we are striving for the space all the time, saying, oh, I'm struggling and I'm accumulating these things. I want this, I want that. And that is the lack of, that was what he is talking about. There's no lack, means I don't really desire all these things in my room because I want the space,
Right.
peaceful, expansive space. That is in us. That is the Purnam I'm talking about. That's the perfection I'm talking about. These yogis, they kept everything outside very minimal, and then they went inside with intuition, found that chamber of fulfillment that was there. And once you are there, you are psychologically free. You are not asking for any fame, you are not asking any wealth or anything like that, because you feel that wealth of that. There is no lack.
Right. You are then in touch
Yeah,
with what is, which
yeah,
has always been.
yes. You are
Yes.
already are all the time, but the problem we think is we are not.
Right. Right. It's just a concept
Yeah,
that comes with,
yeah,
just our we need, like we don't need to be separate, but
Yeah,
in the world that we live in, we are
yeah.
so
Well,
focused on the manifestation.
that's what I think. That's the problem is we are made to think like these are the ones that fulfill your life. When in fact they may serve or need a little bit, but they don't really fulfill internally. And then we think we are doing a right thing towards that by doing that thing, this thing, or all the philosophical struggles everybody goes through. If they can put it aside and just be themselves, be silent, which we always talk about, that
Yeah.
silence itself is the perfection and the peace and happiness itself. But if you say that, they'll say, "Oh, do you want us to live like a saint? Don't want to anything at all." No, no, no. Understand the place of that, and
Right.
then you say, like a child, he will be delighted in a balloon, and then we accumulate all sorts of things on that, and then what we do, we kind of lose the wonder, or beauty of the balloon, and then we don't have any joy out of that.
Absolutely.
But if you
Yeah.
can really discover that, the way it can take off in the air and go, and you can watch it flying away, how beautiful sight that is. And then if you have to be in touch with that, then you get to be really empty in your mind. I think that's what they did with the meditation. They kind of emptied the mind, they put the thought in perspective, and were able to be in touch with the beauty of the world wherever it has come. Like I see the beauty what you do, Martin. Every day you struggle to get people and get them a point or something. You said something very important. I never got a person who doesn't resonate with them. In a way, unconsciously, not really unconscious, really in a conscious level, they are picking up their own thing.
Right.
And that's what you are trying to make them realize, what they already are.
Hmm.
We're not giving it information. We are giving an opportunity for an insight into themselves.
Correct.
That's why your work is beautiful, Martin.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It,
Yeah.
it means a lot to me that people recognize that, because like I don't think you can be better.
Yeah. Yeah. You see, you are already that. You are. So I mean, you can be, you can bandwagon like we know, you don't know, that kind of thing. Or you can engage them in a way that they can see themselves, what they are.
Yes. Yes.
That's
Yes.
the beautiful to say. Anyway, no lack of, there's no lack. That is everything. That's absolutely right.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll see you then.
We will see you soon.
Bye.
All right, we're gonna bring in energy lady. Um, somebody, Teresita. I think she stepped out. If she is out there, like I would really like to engage with you again. So definitely come back. Energy lady, how are you doing today?
Good morning. How are you? I'm doing good.
Good. You. It sounds like you slept well.
I just got done walking and taking a shower and drinking a whole bunch of water, so I think I'm good. And all my exercises and my qigong, I think my energy's up.
Yeah, it is up. It is up. And I am, like it's so interesting, like engaging with people every other day or whatnot, like I know we engage probably like 3 or 4 times a week. And when I get to do that, I get to really like feel your energy in different ways, and it shifts. And there's a from some of the first times we've engaged, and then not long ago I said, hey, your energy is calmer. Not that it was light, but even now I can feel that like your energy has, there's
Settle.
more depth. And
Yeah.
it's like there's always just this, it's so great to be able to engage with people multiple times. And I just want, before we pick a number, I want to just let everybody know, I got Kelly next and then Lois. So if you guys can stick around, of course I would love you to do that. And if you need to step away and you come back in, of course, that's fine. And I'll keep you in line. Energy ladies. So we have numbers, and I'm going to try a different translation with you, and and so pick a
Well,
number.
I appreciate that, and just so you know, one of the reasons, I don't know how to put it, what I plugged into yesterday was that post of me claiming me and saying, "All right, we're out, let's go,"
Yeah.
and it's bringing the depth in because now there's no question. Before there was question because nobody knew.
Yeah.
They all had me in positions, and let me tell you, a couple people showed up and tried to put me back, buddy.
They're always going to do that. And the thing is they're not showing up. You are. And
Right,
it's the
and they don't even know, and that's the whole thing. They didn't know, but boy, did
right.
my energy change. It was hilarious to me. I was like, wow, okay, well now I see that. I see why that happened.
Yeah. And we have the opportunity to go back. If
Right?
we
Oh yeah,
if
and everything
right.
about me. No, I ended the conversation. I went, you know what?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll talk to you later. Bye. And I just hung up, and they think it was me. I'm good.
Yeah. No. Right. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. So the number that will not leave my head is 17.
17.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
excited.
When the masters take charge, hardly anybody notices. The next best leader is obeyed out of love. After that, there's the leader who is obeyed out of fear. The worst leader is the one who is hated. Trust and respect people. That's how you earn their trust and respect. The master doesn't give orders, they work with everybody else. When the job's done, the people are amazed at what they've accomplished.
It's so funny because I just yesterday when I was reading the number, in my stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I learned what master was, and I'm like, that's where I'm going. Yay!
Yes, absolutely. And that's
And
the
I don't
thing.
need to but I don't need to be a leader. I don't need to be this. I don't need to be
Right.
that. I just want to be a master of life, not master of you or anybody else.
Yes. Yes.
Energies are flipping amazing.
Yeah.
So
It starts off so beautifully, especially
it
after what you
does.
experienced, right? When the masters take charge, hardly anybody notices. And when you're going out of your way to be noticed,
Uh-huh.
like what are you doing? What are you doing? Just sit down. Don't we don't have to take credit for everything that we do. We do it and then we sit back and because we are benefiting from the work that we're doing. We're not necessarily going to benefit so much for taking credit. We're going to
Right.
benefit so much more for just doing it.
Well, I shared with a friend right before I actually, did it, claimed it because it was a process. And I said, okay, I said, it's time. She goes, well, Nancy, you've been ready for a long time. I was just waiting for you. And I said, seriously? Because I knew that wasn't true. She goes, yeah. She goes, I knew you were ready. I said, that's great. Let's talk about you now.
Yeah.
And she went, what? And so I brought up a couple things and I said, don't ever do that to me again if you want to stay connected with me and you tell me that you believe in me. And she shut up because I don't need to be noticed. It's an internal, there was no way, just like 17, there was no way I could deny now, right now. And I'm like, no, now.
Right.
and
Absolutely.
and she learned because, she's been through the process with, not the whole process, but the process with me. And she turns around and says that. I said, okay, we're going to have to make it personal
Yeah.
now. All right.
Absolutely.
So what you just said resonated wholly. It's pretty funny. I know that I'm going to get a lot of different. I'm going to see a lot, and it's going to be really beneficial to me. It's going to be exciting to say, oh that, oh yeah that, okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
and a lot of it is because I have new friends like you, honestly.
Hmm. It
Because
is. It is because just and the same with me in
mm-hmm.
meeting new people all the time. It's like it ups my game.
Right,
and
because
and it's
we're
not and it's
connecting the
not
dots to who we are, and it feels good, and that's all that matters.
right. Yeah. And it pushes us to be, because we can so easily get into the rote identities that we hold around the people that we've already established our relationships with. So,
Right. And you know what? I did that. I've done that for way too many years, and I'm just there's so much going on. So let's keep going. I'm
okay.
excited. This is
So,
fun.
the next best is a leader who is obeyed out of love. After that, a leader who is obeyed out of fear. The worst leader is one who is hated.
Okay, and that's really cool because for me personally, because
Hmm.
I've, all most of us, but I'm going to speak from my experience. I was raised in in obeying out of fear because obviously everything about me was not okay due to people being feared of me. But I didn't know that at the time as a child. So I took that through life and it kept coming and it kept coming and it's come, I mean, up till just recently. And the last thing was for me, and it's just really cool to say, I had a leader continuously tell me, and it was just an acclaimed leader, not a person who really leads, saying, you know what, you need to use this person. And I'm like, no, this, and I realized that that person leads out of fear and they love it. And it's
Hmm.
powerful for them. And I couldn't find a way out. And I realized, oh, this is my family dynamic. So this is why it's here. I'm ready. And I got to create I took what was there for me, the rest I left behind, and it really started working. So that to me is that just that whole little thing you said
Hmm.
was to me validating what I've done for me. That's what I'm going to take unless there's something else.
No, and I think looking at this, I think when we in over the last 50 years, I know about 46 of those, not really well, but I've been so over the last 50 years, we have seen a lot of leaders who have been feared. I mean, if we look at the housing market crash, if we look at Amazon, if we look at so many of the ways that we've learned how to manipulate our workforce so that they fear losing their job. And I think that, with the great resignation that's happening right now, or we're still in the middle of, or whatever, like we're seeing that, like, that's not the way forward. And I think a lot of early coaches and other things like that wanted you to live in a space of fear, and then tribe, and then, like, it's like, I'm going to make you fear who you are because you're not enough, you're not doing enough, and I'm going to show you that I'm the one that can help you. And then their followers end up loving them. But really, the master who does the most work is the one who hardly anybody notices. It's
And
like, wow, like, I
that's,
did it myself.
that's so cool that you're saying that because this is what I've been telling people. My some of my friends, I said, I don't need to be recognized. I only want to be with people who have like-hearted minds like me that want to do what I am at being asked to do. That's all I'm asking. I don't need to be
Yeah.
noticed. And that's what's been going on the last 2.5 years for me is that the rug kept saying, well, Nancy, you took this on, and now I see why I took it on, and I know why it all happened in the sense and how it happened. And now I don't. I've got a blank slate now. I'm like, all right, I know what I'm doing, but I don't you know
Yeah.
um and it's fun because you're right, I was raised in that fear. I was raised in the FOMO, fear of missing out, so I never took naps, I never did anything. My mom used to laugh at me, but the thing that my family really enjoyed doing is laughing at me in my demise and my hurt. And that really taught me compassion because that is leadership of, and all their friends did it too, adult friends,
Yeah.
leadership out of fear. And it really showed me how much I love people.
Hmm.
My friends always loved me since I was a kid. I mean, my post yesterday, people say, wow, if you're claiming this, I can't wait to see what you're doing. And that's so cool because that was a big hug. Because you saw
Right.
my post, it was about,
Hmm.
I'm gonna read it here. DeGran asked me, anytime you write, why don't you just come on and have that as your talk? And I'm like, oh, that'll be fun
Yeah.
on anything, not just this one. So that'll
Right.
be
Right.
my
Right.
first one. It's it's me saying, "Here we go." Now I can't turn. I'm not turning back. Now you know who I am. Let's go because it's
Right.
an emotional now. It's not no. There's no specifics in any of it.
Right.
But you're right. I mean, think about it. Look at what we're talking about, fear, and the other one was lack. I mean, this is really cool for me.
Yeah. And then we move into the thing that you do so well, I think, and that's
Hmm.
trust and respect people. That's how you earn their trust and respect.
Hmm.
I talk about that a lot in terms of, like, talking about addiction and other things like that, where it's like, if you
Hmm.
just show a motherfucker some respect, Like, they will see that they're worthy of respect. Now that they know they're worthy of respect, they can give respect. And that's the one thing that I think a lot of people miss out on is like, if you're going to talk down to somebody, well, then all they know is being talked down to, and they can't do anything but think poorly of the people around them because
Right.
they don't know love and respect, because they can't feel love and respect for themselves. And that's why this line is so important: trust and respect people. That's how you earn their trust and respect.
And you know, and I agree with you. And you helped me, you personally, listening to you and getting to know, just being a friend.
Yeah.
I'm really learned the m- bigger concept of detachment with unconditional love, no expectation of you should be. It's a resolve. And
Right.
it's such a calming space, because that's what I always was. My sisters always asked me, one of my sisters always said, how come you have friends of all different walks? And I go, what do you mean? They said, you have a birthday party and you have everybody. You got the fat people, the ugly people, the rich people, the snotty people. You got everybody together in one room. How do you do that? And I said, because I don't care. And I never realized that that was going to be such a benefit to me, but I didn't care. I don't care. I never looked at them like that. I looked at them as, oh, you're kind to me, I'm good. That was it. That was it. And I kind of went away from that when I got in it. And you've taught me, especially with what I've been through, I don't want to judge anybody. I don't want to judge my son, my sisters, anybody, especially with what the world is, for the choices that they make in their lives. Because there's no way my son couldn't have gone the direction he went in, no matter what, with what
Right.
was dealt to him. So how can I think today is wrong? I can't.
That's right. That's right.
And that's everybody. That's absolutely everybody. People tell me, as an example, I'm supposed to be being a grandma. I'm supposed to. There is no supposed to. I'm honored. She picked those parents for her, not
That's
me.
right.
And I'm just part of the outside score, so she can pull me in anytime. And I
That's right.
love that. So you've helped me with that. So thank you.
Well, absolutely. And this is where this next section, this final section, goes to. The masters don't give orders. They
No.
work with everybody else.
Yes.
When the job is done, people are amazed at what they accomplished. And what they accomplished isn't what the masters accomplished, but what the people have accomplished.
Yes. I want people to come in and play with me and help me, just be with me in the sense of what I'm being asked to do, just like what you're doing. I always think of your Tao the day and the recovery. That is just, you can't get away from that, Martin. There's no way you can say, no, I don't want to do that right now. There's no way. The energies are like, no, we're too powerful. You know what I mean? You're already
Yeah,
set stone in this. Okay, let's just keep going. And things change. And that's with me. There's no way I cannot do what I'm doing. So I'm just asking for more. Show me more, because I know there's blockages. So I'm going to keep going, but I appreciate this. I really do.
absolutely. It's a beautiful Tao, and I'm really happy that we can kind of bring in new translations and look at things in a new way. And it's always wonderful to have you up.
Thank you so much. I absolutely appreciate you and love you. And I do look forward to meeting you physically, because we are going to.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, that's yeah. We'll
No,
we'll
it's a
be in
given.
touch.
So be good. Have a great time today, as you always do.
Yes, I do. Um. So earlier I said we had Kelly and then Lois, but I did mention Teresita, who came back up, and I'm bringing her up now. So to Kelly and Lois, we're gonna take Teresita first because she was here, and I do want to keep her in line.
Hola, Martin.
Hola, ¿qué
I'm,
tal?
muy bien, gracias. I'm actually glad you did because I start work at 10.
Okay,
So,
good. Well, I'm glad I got you in because I
yeah,
did see you there. You were in line, and then you had dropped out, and I was like, oh, that's
yeah,
cool.
I got a
But if you
call I
come
was
back,
waiting
we
for.
we we got you. We got you.
All right, sounds good. So, it's always nice to hear the energy lady too. She's awesome, isn't she?
She is. She
She's
is.
amazing. She's amazing. But aren't we all though? Aren't we all?
Yes, like that's that.
Yeah.
The fact that we can hear her means that we are amazing as well.
Exactly. We all have a beauty in us.
Yes.
We all do. We can find it too. So anyway, so yeah, I've been in an awesome journey. I kind of felt it and knew it too, but through my masters, through my guides, through numerology, I hear Devon a lot. I don't know if you know Devon, astrology. Um, and I've been getting all these signs that by June, not that being financially abundant is all that important, but at the same time, it does help, considering my circumstances. And so I've just been having a spiritual awakening, major breakthroughs, and so I've been getting all twos, threes, fours, and fives. I get them repeatedly, and I mean repeatedly throughout the day. Everything I look at, even when it was February 22nd, on 22nd, I saw two twos all the time the whole day. It's just so cool.
Yeah,
I
you
was
you
just
are
like,
you are being held.
yes, I am. Because I talk to my angels all day long, and my God, I just do. So, anyways, I get the twos a lot, but I get the fives the most. I get five, 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 five a lot. So I don't know if to go with five, five.
Okay, yeah. Let's start there.
I
I
mean,
was
do
I
you do
wasn't
five,
sure
five,
where we
five,
were going to
five?
go with it. Okay, so 55
Yeah.
is where we're going to go.
Okay.
He who is in harmony with the Tao is like a newborn child. Its bones are soft, its muscles are weak, but its grip is powerful. It doesn't know about the union of male and female, yet its penis can stand erect. So intense is its vital power. It can scream its head off all day, yet it never becomes hoarse. So complete is its harmony. The master's power is like this. He lets all things come and go effortlessly without desire. He never expects results. Thus,
Wow.
he is never disappointed. He is never disappointed, thus his spirit never grows old.
Wow. Wow. Letting go, letting God. I've been doing just that. I'm not expecting any results. And whatever results are, acceptance. Whatever results are, those are. You
Yeah.
know? Accepting things as they are. Everything is the way it's supposed to be. So
Yes.
that has been my calm and my peace and my joy through gratitude as well. So I was not that way before. I was constantly thinking and expecting things. And you know what happens when you expect, you know? Disappointment
Yeah.
and so I have been just allowing things as is. Even when I want to make a decision on something, I just pray about it and I ask the universe, and don't even ask for the result or ask what I want. I just let it be.
Yeah.
So that
That's
was,
beautiful. And that's that whole second part. And in the beginning here we say
yes,
he
I
who is
didn't
in
even
harmony
share.
with the Tao is like a newborn child, right? Like a
Yes,
newborn child. Its bones are soft, its muscles are weak, but its grip is powerful. It's like
yes,
you're limber, you're able to shift, you're able to move, you're able to be adjusted by your parents. But when you need to grab onto something, that's powerful.
it's like
When
wearing a
that
loose
when
garment.
that's something that you need to do, you can grab.
Right. It's like wearing a loose garment. It's like wearing a loose garment, but yes, it's being able to grab a grip or a hold of something when it's finally there and you know it is something
Right.
that you ought to take a hold of, or that it is what you've been in search of. I've actually been in search of my um, my purpose, and there's a purpose, and I am I am a teacher. I'm an empath, but at the same time, I try to not get so involved, so involved, because then
Right.
I lose myself. And I take on too much, you know. So I'm also watching that, but um, I care for people a lot, and I think it's around the youth side where I'm going to be helping people. But I was going to school for human services and addiction studies. So I don't know. It's in the realm where I'm going to, hopefully have like, a practice where I'm helping others. I don't know what it is exactly yet, but I've been wanting to find out what my purpose is. And of course, I'll need to be a little bit financially abundant to eventually get a business going. But I'm hearing a lot of seminars and stuff where it's easier than than what I think negative of when I don't want to. I don't know if you understand where I'm coming from. Like I can make it happen a lot easier than I think it isn't. You know,
Yeah, I think,
I
like just as you're saying this, I remember, like I keep thinking back to Dr. Rao and what he was talking about this concept of there is no
lack,
lack. It's
lack.
here.
Yes,
You're not looking for your purpose. You're looking to see it, right? Like your purpose
exactly,
isn't hidden from you. You
exactly.
have just like it's not something you have to discover. You just have to open up to it.
Right, right.
And so much of, and we look at this, right? And it's like opening up to it means like, not knowing and still trusting your vital power.
Exactly.
This is where this next line is. It doesn't know, like the newborn child doesn't know the union of male and female, yet its penis can stand erect, so intense is its vital power. This is a natural thing that the child knows nothing about.
So that's my first time ever being in this position. So
Yeah.
I'm open to it, but like you were saying, to be able to, when the time comes, be able to take a grip and know that
Yeah.
that's it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm there, and I'm open, and I'm loose, and I'm free. Being able to allow it to happen. So it's like faith over fear, and being able to
Mhm.
just jump and know that something has you. You know, taking
And
that grip.
the next line is, it can scream its head off all day. Now that I want you to take this into consideration. It can scream its head off all day, yet never become hoarse. So complete is its harmony. If you find that you are being, you start to become tired, if you start to become weary and
Right.
weak from doing what you're doing, you have to be able to step back and say, well, wait,
Exactly.
my harmony isn't here. Like it,
Exactly.
where am I forcing something?
I
Because
got you.
if you can get rid of all of the forcing, just like a child screaming its head off all day, never becoming hoarse, that's where you find your complete harmony.
And that
Now,
comes with boundaries.
so every aspect that you take up as you start this business and stuff, anytime you find yourself lacking and lacking and lacking, you have to find out, where are you forcing?
I got you.
Because that is going to get you more into harmony, because you don't need to force it. Your
Exactly.
forcing it is going to continue making you tired. And so just recognize, just be aware. That's the only thing that you can do. And as awareness comes, you go ahead and, just like the newborn child, like its penis can stand erect. No idea why, but it's there. And that is the vital power that you have within you.
Right. I got to go back in the office. Um,
Okay.
so I thank you. It's been a while since I've been, I've listened to you, so it was awesome to hear everyone, and I love you. I've known
Love you
you
too.
today.
And we
All right.
will, we will, we will be in touch.
Sounds good. Bye bye.
Bye bye. All right, we're gonna go ahead and bring Kelly up. My buddy Kelly, I've had you in line for so long, and I feel like I'm just finally getting around to saying hello. How are you, dear?
Hey, good morning. Doing
Good
okay.
morning. I am doing well. I am doing well. And are you outdoors?
I am walking to my car and about to taking my 12-year-old to school. And when
Ah,
she's ready,
time to get in that car line.
we're off.
Oh, Kelly, you have a number for me today?
Yes. Holland, what's it? Tell me a number between 1 and 60 or something.
81.
12. Oh, wait, hold on. 81. So what number? 12, she said.
Okay, we're gonna go to 12, and this is Holland's number now. So I hope she can
Oh,
hear.
now I have to take my head.
What's that? Did you? Are we here? Can we be heard now?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes. Can Holland hear?
Yes, she can hear you. Ready, Holland?
Okay. Good. Okay, Holland, this is your Tao for the day. I'm Martin John, by the way, and this is going to be fun. This is a little poem about thinking about your day today. Colors blind the eye, sounds deafen the ear, flavors numb the taste, thoughts weaken the mind, desires wither the heart. The master observes the world but trusts his inner vision. He allows things to come and go, and his heart is as open as the sky. So I'm going to read a different translation to that might make a little more sense. So we're going to start over with a different translation. Sight obscures, noise deafens. Desire messes with your heart. The world messes with your mind. The master watches the world but keeps focused on what's real.
She shrugged her shoulders. She was not going to respond out loud.
Quite all right. Okay, well, I'm gonna.
It's good. Um, yeah, I feel like I read this one before with you, but actually, maybe not.
Yeah, no, I think we may have. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I've read this one a number of times. Um, so so yeah, if you and I are gonna talk about this, I really like this I really like the color blinds the eye because, you know, and I'll speak to Holland. She doesn't have to speak to me.
Okay.
When we talk about this idea of like colors that blind the eye, you know, when you see a really beautiful sunset, like a gray day or a day that doesn't have such a beautiful sunset can be a letdown. It can be like, oh, that's not as good as the other one. You know, and that's what this sort of refers to. It's like, oh, once you have something like really intense, like sometimes other things can seem less
Last. Yeah.
impressive,
Yeah.
you know.
It's a big thing.
Sounds deafen the ear. I mean, how many times, Holland, have you listened to your mom's music and you're like, oh my God, mom, I can't believe you're listening to this? Like, because you have your music and your music is beautiful to you. So sounds make it hard to hear what other people hear. Right? You can't always like what your mom likes, but your mom isn't liking what you like. And so there's this whole thing where it's like sounds deafen the ear. It's hard to hear what's good about something when you've already decided what's good. Does that
Mm.
make sense?
I was thinking it's more like when there's too many sounds, when something's overwhelming, when everybody's, it can, it's not like physically deafen the ear, but that it kind of drowns out the the details.
Oh. So like I'm sure in your household that can happen, right? Everybody's talking and then Holland's like, "But I want this," and you can't even hear her. And she's like, "But I told you, mom."
That does happen, yes.
Yeah.
I can see
So
her eyes
sounds
squinting when she smiles because she has a mask on. So I'm like, okay, now I know she's smiling.
oh good. Yeah. So that's how sounds can deafen the ear, right? Like like how often has your mom been deaf to you talking because it's been so loud in the house? And you know, the nice thing about referencing that is like maybe you don't have to get angry because you can recognize, you know, there's a lot of sound here. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe maybe it
I
maybe it
think we
wasn't
all go
her.
around our house actually with headphones on and no music, and I'm just like, so
Yeah.
yes, definitely gets overwhelming.
Yeah. Flavors numb the taste. And I don't know how old you are, but like, you know, like you may you know like fast food or other things like that on occasion, and sometimes there's so many flavors in that food that like when your mom cooks dinner it doesn't it's like I can't taste this because there's so many flavors in like fast food, in chips, in you know fucking like spicy like the spicy Cheetos and stuff, right? Like there's so many flavors in that like dinner and salad and things like that are like, oh man, this got no flavor at all. So too many flavors can numb the taste. Thoughts weaken the mind. Every time you think about a new thing, it's just bouncing you from one thing to another. You think about You think about people, you think about school, you think about home, you think about like escape, you think about safety, you think about your clothes, you think about acceptance, you think about sport or whatever. All of these things can just keep your mind bouncing from one thing to another, and you don't get the opportunity.
I
What
dropped
what
her off.
Oh, she's gone. She's
It
like,
was
get me
such a
out of
quick.
here.
She's nervous. She's a lot of anxiety, and she's neurodiverse, and like so, we have a lot. And like so, in the morning she gets real silent. So she definitely
Yeah.
her sounds definitely, speaking of, like, come from within. Like the sounds of deafening your mind. It might not be outside, but definitely inside. All that anxiety, all that
Yeah.
tension, all those stories you're telling yourself, all the fear of what if,
Yeah.
and then it's never come to pass. These things, like, it's just these things that you are now filling your mind with.
Yeah. And those are like, yeah, thoughts weaken the mind.
And deafen your ear.
And stuff,
Yeah,
yeah, sounds deafen your ear, and thoughts, especially when they're loud, they can deafen your ear. Desire withers the heart. It's
because then you're
hard.
not happy with what you have.
That's right. And it can make your heart feel so alone. It make your heart feel so
And you're chasing.
overlooked. What's that?
you know well, some people say you like to go for your desire, like they'll connect the word desire and manifest, right? But that what it really is just like, you all of this is about not being present in your moment, like having
Right.
your mindful moment. It's really just like every time you go looking for the next whatever, every time you're like seeking and not seeing what's already available. Maybe we don't have to seek it all. Maybe we just need to see what's right there. It's like being present.
Yeah. Then we move into the master observes the world, but trusts her inner vision.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, me too. That's a beautiful way of like looking at it, right? Like,
Yeah,
observe the world. Like, sure, the world is happening, but trust your inner vision.
absolutely. That's absolutely, like, that's kind of what my mantra is, I think.
Yeah.
I kind of live my life by that.
She
And
allows she allows things to come and go. Her
allow.
heart is open as the sky.
See, this was mine as well. Hollywood's
Yeah.
right.
They're all of ours, it's not ownership, but it's beautiful. I'm really glad that Holland participated. I know it's nerve-wracking and stuff, or it could be, but I hope she felt held and heard.
Thanks. I don't know. Like, she just it's hard taking her to school. She shuts down in the morning. She shuts down. She gets so terrified every goddamn day. And she's in sixth grade, and every day before school she's so scared. And so it
Mm.
sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we've done it all. So I'm sure that she'll reflect on it at some point today. It'll hit her and she'll talk about it later.
Yeah. Well,
She,
that's what this is all about. It's just a
yeah,
seed. That's all. Just a seed.
yeah. So,
Well, thank you
thank
so
you.
much for joining me, and I'm glad that
Yeah,
thanks for your patience and everything. And it was great to chat with you and Holland. I'm going to move on to Lois
thanks.
and
I
then
hope you,
Graciela. Thank you.
yeah.
Have a
All
wonderful
right.
day, love.
Bye. You too.
Okay, we're bringing Lois, and then Graciela is coming up. Oh, that's so fun. Lois, how you doing, girl?
Morning, Martin. I'm good. I'm good. I'm
Good.
good.
I
Let's
heard
go.
you. I heard you like at 4 o'clock this morning doing your laundry.
Yeah, I sure am. And I'm not finished. I'm tired now. I'm going to go to sleep. I was about to fall asleep. I'm like, okay, I can hold on one more people, one more.
One more,
Then
one
you
more.
said,
One.
then you said she's back.
Oh,
I'm like,
someone else coming
okay,
up.
ah, yeah,
But we cut both of those at 10 minutes, so you
yeah.
really only had to stick around for another 5. So
Oh,
that's
but
all.
I'm not watching the phone though.
Yeah, I understand. I
Okay.
was just
Anyway, let's go with 78.
78,
I
78
never did nothing
deep
that fast.
cuts. 78 deep cuts. Nothing in the world is as soft and yielding as water, yet for dissolving the hard and inflexible, nothing can surpass it. The soft overcomes the hard, the gentle overcomes the rigid. Everyone knows this is true, but few can put it into practice. Therefore, the master remains serene in the midst of sorrow. Evil cannot enter his heart because he has given up helping.
Mm.
Nope. Because he has given up helping, he is the people's greatest help. True words seem paradoxical. Have you and I read this before?
It sounded really familiar. I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
maybe I
I
did this
think
one
we may have
already.
read this one. So what I want to do is read a different translation.
Okay, do that. I
Nothing
haven't
is
heard it in a
soft.
long time.
Nothing is softer or more yielding than water, yet given time it can erode even the hardest stone. That's how the weak can defeat the strong, and the supple can win out over the stiff. Everybody knows it, so why don't people apply it to their own lives? Lao Tzu used to say, take on people's problems and you can be their leader. Deal with
Uh-huh.
the world's problems and you'll be a master.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes the truth makes no sense.
My thing is that you know what? The truth don't make sense sometimes.
Sure don't. It
I'm
sure
gonna
don't.
start. I'm gonna start with that part. Sometimes the truth makes no damn sense whatso fucking ever.
Nope, nope,
Okay.
nope.
um but being able to cut through stuff and being able to navigate keeping yourself separate from those experiences, because stop turning your emotions into stuff. That's what I'm here is about, because that's the journey I'm on.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna tell you what I'm here because of the journey I'm on.
Oh,
When
well,
I'm
yeah.
here, as long as I say stay like water, okay, that's like that was one of them kung fu things. As long as I stay like water, I can flow through anything and I can tolerate anything, and that's why I know, and that's why I'm going through this supposedly mourning state so well,
Hmm.
because it's like it just is, it was, and it's something that I have to live with. And the thing is I made peace with it so that I can continue living my best life, because that's what my baby would have me do. So
That's right.
my thing is, it's like I'm at peace. I'm at peace with myself, and because I'm at peace with myself, I ain't trying to fix nobody. I ain't trying to fix the world. I'm just trying to tell the world my story so that if they get inspired to make changes in their life, beautiful. If they decide to stay where they are, beautiful. Regardless, we all beautiful. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
And that's basically what, for me, that's the piece I get from that what you just read.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're talking all about this water and stone up in the beginning and stuff, but what that
Yes.
really means is like, are you flexible?
Yeah.
Are you flexible and can you allow that stone to be a stone? And that's what I do here on Tao of the Day. It's what I do
Mhm.
in my workshops and stuff. So much of it is all about this idea of, hey, I'm going to say what I say. It doesn't matter what you hear
Right.
because I'm speaking truth. And I'm not trying to get you to believe the truth because if I needed to defend the truth, then it wouldn't be the truth,
Amen.
right?
The truth doesn't have to be defended ever, 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 ever. I don't care what kind of relationship you're in. Truth does not need to be defended, because see, the truth comes out in the wash.
That's right. And if you find yourself defending something, you got to question, why does this need defending?
Oh, amen. I'm gonna
Right?
just say
Why does this
amen.
need me to defend it?
Okay.
You know?
What is it about this that I'm not allowing to learn from, where I'm so locked in some type of mind frame that I gotta hold that I'm gonna say that stinking thinking in the forefront of my mind, that I gotta fight against something, because I know that anything you fight against you attract, and I don't fight against nothing, so I don't join campaigns against this, against that, against that. Now I will join campaigns for things. But if
Mm,
you say mothers against, oh no, I ain't there. Something against, stop this, no this. No, I'm not joining with something so negative. I'm gonna go with support,
yeah.
for, and the thing is I just love this one. I guess I had to hear it again because I was giving it the last minute. I was gonna say something totally different, and then someone said no, 78.
Yeah. And this is
So,
important because, like, this idea of just being here and allowing others to be where they are and do what they do
exactly.
without, you know, and everybody knows that if you just let them just be who they are, let people be who they are. And like we said earlier, I forget who I was talking to, like, you just give them respect.
Right.
You just trust and respect people. That's how you gain their trust and respect. You don't demand it.
Yeah.
You don't
You
tell
you
them,
give them
I know what's best for
space.
you.
You give them the space to figure out what they believe, to figure out what they want to take in, what they don't want to take in. I don't believe in force feeding. Okay, I
Right.
didn't force feed my children when they didn't like something. I didn't make them eat something that they didn't incline themselves to. And thank God, I would have made them sick because found out later they was allergic to the shit.
Right.
So if they didn't want it, I didn't feed it to them. So, but the thing is that we just got to be mindful of when we're talking to people where they are, and that we just all we do. And my thing is listening to people talk to this morning. We just if we just tell our stories. We don't pull anybody else into it and say the people and they and this and the people, if people would do this and just tell your story. I did this and I know if I hadn't done this, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's taking further ownership of our stuff, and then making sure that we don't get into that high and mighty attitude where we start trying to judge somebody else's shit.
Hmm. That's
and
right.
I and so I don't know, Martin. You
Well,
get me
at the
thinking about
end
it. You
here,
get me thinking about everything when you read these dials. My mind just go. My mind just like goes everywhere.
see, and at the end here, we, like as we wrap this up, it starts to say, take on people's problems and you can be their leader.
Mm-hmm.
Deal with the world's problems and you can be a master. It's not about being someone's master, about being a master.
Yes,
And you're going to end up being a master of yourself.
of yourself. Man, you better preach. See, you
Yeah.
preaching and you don't even know it. Let me stop.
But you can go out and you can say, I can solve your problem. I can help you lose weight. I can solve your problem. I can help you get sober. I can solve your problem. I can help you get a better relationship. Sure, great, good for you. I'm really happy for you. But you're only helping them with their supposed problems. They're the things that they see as problems.
But not only that, you are also enabling
That's right.
they're them not to take care of themselves. Whenever we do something that somebody should do for themselves, we are taking away their power, whether we believe it or not. Even though we may be well intentioned, good intentioned, but everybody has boundaries, and we can't cross those boundaries because we think we know what's best for somebody else. My thing is
Right.
tending your own garden. You got a garden with dirt in it, and you got plenty of shit that you done been through. Tend your own garden, and that's when I. My thing is that's where I'm at. I mean, it's not about it's for me when I come on here. I'm gonna tell you that when I come on here to share the benefit of my knowledge and my wisdom of where I went through the fucking pitfalls, the stupid decisions I make when I was a triadic and everything else. And people say,
Hmm.
"What's a triadic?" That means somebody told me if you do this. Now I'm gonna say people who no they. I'm gonna say they because I'm like, who the fuck are they? But that's where I'm at now. Then they told me do this and you'll get out of pain. So I did that. Do this and you'll get out of pain. Okay, try this and you'll get out of pain. So I tried everything. Okay, I tried all different things and shopping, eating, drugs, you name it. I was a triadic.
Yep.
Okay, nothing ever stuck because I was from the school of I'm gonna try it, and if it don't work for me, fuck it, I'm done.
That's right.
Okay. And me and my sister were talking about this yesterday, and I was like, girl, I ain't nothing in my past that I'm ashamed of because I was a triadic. Okay,
Yeah.
I tried whatever it took to get me out of pain, and when it no longer worked, because some stuff worked initially, but when it no longer worked and began to cause me more pain than was causing me happiness or pleasure, then it had to go, and so I had to try something new. Right now, I'm trying on all these different shoes in this on this wisdom app because there's so many thoughts of growth that goes on here till I'm trying trying on shoes of all kinds. I mean, I'm trying on boots and stilettos, and I don't wear stilettos no more. Okay, because
Hmm.
I just don't. That's just not healthy for me. Okay, I'm gonna
Right.
say that it's not
And
healthy.
and
But
and we like to bring that back around to
uh-huh.
all of this. Like what you're saying is like being flexible is stronger than being rigid.
Yes.
When you had rules that I don't do that, that's
Okay.
rigid. I
Okay.
had rules that I'm not going to run.
Uh
Like, I'm not going to run in a race. Well, I'm running a 5 mile race
huh.
because I had, and the only reason I'm doing it is because I had a rule that I didn't. Now, do I want to do it after that again? Maybe, maybe not. Doesn't matter. But the reason that I'm doing it is so that I can challenge and I can stay flexible.
And I did the same thing, but see, you doing the running. I have I don't necessarily have a green thumb. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I've grown people all my life. I'm really good with people and animals. Oh my geez, animals follow me like I'm what's it called that? Cinderella, some sleeping beauty and some shit. Okay, no, they do. Animals follow me and they come to me even if I don't particularly care for them because I'm maybe a little anxious or whatever. But my thing is I always, every time I was left responsible with somebody else's plant or a plant to take care of, it died under my watch. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So after years and years of trying to grow a plant and buying my own, trying to grow a plant, they would die. So 20 years ago, somebody brought me a cactus and I killed that bitch too. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. So I don't have the greenest of thumbs. However, I love plants and nature and I want to do this thing. Okay. So this weekend while I was at a vegan food festival, a lady was selling plants and they were so beautiful. They were succulents because I figured I'm gonna try with a succulent because you can buy you
Well, that's
wasn't
because
supposed
you
to kill
suck
it.
at gardening. What?
Yeah, there it is. Okay, and not only because I sucked the garden, because they said that they can last whatever the aloe vera and the succulents and all that
Yeah.
stuff, and even the cactus was supposed to last. But this time, I said I got to get an edge, and I went ahead and I challenged myself. Now I got me a little what you call it, a little moisture stick, so that at least I can check it. So I'm giving myself a flying start with this. But my thing is, this is a challenge for me. It may not be a 5 mile, 6 mile race
No,
or
it
against
is.
my
It's a
physical.
lifetime race. You got
Okay,
a
but
buddy for a lifetime.
okay. This is like, but to me, this is a serious challenge, and I'm gonna pay attention to it every 3 or 4 days. I'm gonna go in there and stick the stick in it, like she said, and see how it's doing. And I got her number to call her if it start looking.
And I'm telling you, what you're learning is how to take care of yourself. You're not learning how to take care of a plant, and that's
And
the thing. When your plants were dying, there were parts of you that were dying.
oh, that's true because I wasn't continuing me. Well,
That's right.
for me, them plants were not important. Okay, I'm
That's
gonna be
right.
real. Them plants,
Uh,
well, and especially they weren't mine either. They weren't my plants. People have
see,
Lois, watch my plant while I go out of town.
everything dies.
And I
And
was
that's
like,
the thing. They
no
were
way.
important, and that's why it's so important to recognize that this relationship isn't a relationship you have with nature.
Uh huh.
It's a relationship you have with yourself. And that's
Okay.
why, like, why we do these things. That this last line, sometimes the truth makes no sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've killed plants. Makes no sense for you to go get one.
No, it makes no
But that's
sense,
the
but I
truth.
have to do it. I have to
Yep,
do it because there. I mean, I don't have fears per se. But there's things in my craw that I said I'm never doing it again because I killed it or because it didn't work out. And those are the things that are coming up.
I hear
And
that.
those are things that make no sense for me. So thank you, Martin. I
Thank
love
you,
you.
dear.
Bye.
Love you as well. We are bringing Graciela up. And maybe if no one else is in line after that. So if anybody wants to jump in line, you go right ahead. Graciela, how are you doing?
Yay! Martin John, I'm so happy. It's my first time in your Tao of the Day.
Yeah, I didn't think I had seen you, but I've done this for I've done this
I
since I
know
don't know
you've been doing
October,
this from day one and you've been
day one.
here since the beta times, I think, right?
Yes, yes,
Yes,
yes,
no, I
yeah.
remember. It's
And
just
it's
that my
been it's
mornings are,
I know we've connected before. I think very briefly early on, maybe in beta.
yeah. It's just
But
my
I'm really
mornings
glad
are
to.
are hectic with Elijah here, but
Yeah.
I don't want to miss out. I got that FOMO going on. um
Don't miss out on
because
the little Tao.
yeah, exactly. So I have a number
Thanks
for
for
you.
joining me. Yeah, shoot it.
It keeps coming up. It's 27.
27. I'm just glancing down because did we do, wait, I was like, did we do that already today? Okay.
Did you
27 is
do
a
it?
beautiful one. And no. I don't
Okay,
think I've
good.
read this in a while, actually, because now that I'm
Mhm.
looking at it. So it is a beautiful, and I'm just going to keep teasing you without reading it. No, I'm going to go ahead and read it
Thank you.
now. A good traveler has no fixed plans and is not intent upon arriving. A good artist lets his intuition lead him wherever he wants it. A good scientist has freed himself of concepts and keeps his mind open to what is. Thus, the master is available to all people and doesn't reject anyone. He is ready to use all situations and doesn't waste anything. This is called embodying the light.
I'm sorry. Can you go ahead and repeat after the master, because I got a call and I lost you for a second.
Thus, the master is
Uh-huh.
available to all people and
Yes.
doesn't reject anyone. He is ready to use all situations and doesn't waste anything.
Mm.
This isn't called embodying the light. What is a good man but a bad man's teacher? What is a bad man but a good man's job? If you don't understand this, you will get lost, however intelligent you are. It
Mm.
is the great secret.
Mm. Secret. I love that ending. The great secret that everybody knows. Oh, that's great. Thank you so much. What resonated was the very first part, actually.
Yeah.
Because I'm writing this thing and I keep not necessarily beating myself up. I don't necessarily like beat myself up negatively or anything like that. I just keep pondering and thinking about it and
Mhm.
not taking action. And that is the ending of my book. And what you
Mhm.
said in the beginning about the destination, the journey being and not so much the destination, we know this, right? It's
Yeah.
about the process and not so much the final result. I coach my clients through this every day. Focus about your intention, focus on your on the reasons why you're doing it and not so much on what you're expecting, right?
Right.
And then prepare mentally for all the possible outcomes of what you may expect, right? Because we may not get what we want. So that was really good. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay. So usually we just kind of go through, have a first round, and then we go through it line by line if you have the time for that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I do
Okay.
have the time. I may go mute depending
Yeah.
on Elijah, but I am listening. You're in my ear. So go ahead.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Yeah, and you just chime in whenever you feel like you
Yes.
have something to say.
Awesome.
So yes, a good traveler has no fixed plans and is not intent upon arriving. And this beginning deals with these three different entities, right? A good traveler, a good artist, and a good scientist. And it's interesting to bring these three together. Because I always look at the artist and scientist as connected through the artist being the internal and the scientist being the external, because the artist answers questions that they pose, and scientists answer questions that are posed by others or posed by nature. A good traveler has no fixed plans. The traveler is, like, um, Hmm. I'm not sure how to think about that. The traveler is everybody. Everybody's living their life, and maybe that is everybody. And the artist is a part of us, and the scientist is another part of us, right? The masculine and the feminine. The scientist being the masculine, and the artist being the feminine, right? The receptive. And so, if you're living a good life, if you're a good traveler, you have no fixed plans for your life, and you're not intent upon arriving anywhere. You're just going through. Because if you were intent upon arriving somewhere, it'd be intent upon dying. And although that is part of the thing, you're not racing to that. A good artist lets his intuition lead him wherever he wants. Thoughts?
Uh no, you paused there for a second and I wanted to let you know I'm listening. I love
Yeah.
that. I When you were reading it the first time, so thank you so much for breaking it up. And this is probably why you do that, but when you were breaking it up, I realized that we were talking about three different entities or three different mindsets, and that speaks a lot to me, right? Because we ebb and flow through different mindsets 100 times a day. So the traveler versus the artist versus the scientist, how do I behave in all of those? I mean, I'm just going off my head, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But yes, thank you. I'm listening.
Yeah, that's such a it's so important to break these up because it's
That's
all
right.
so packed full,
Yes, yes. Thank you.
you know. And then, so we talk about the traveler having no fixed plans, the artist allowing his intuition, and the scientist freeing himself of concepts. The scientist is the mathematician in us, right? It's the one that wants to make the structures. It's the masculine. And if we can free ourselves of the concepts and open our mind to what is, and like what a great way of putting that. A good scientist has freed himself of concepts and opens his mind to what is. How many times do we see, quote unquote, just for sake of argument, bad scientists like holding on to concepts and executing people that disagree with the fact that the world's flat, right? Like we've seen this in history, and we've seen this all along because scientists don't keep their mind open to what is. People that are in the science, and I know that Socrates, I believe, or was it Aristotle, beheaded for that, and that was religion and all this other stuff like kind of got in the way. But this idea of how often do scientists hold on to concepts? I mean, I'm coming out of addiction, and I look a lot at recovery, and our recovery world has so many concepts that it's holding on to, and it's not really open to the ideas that are out in the open right now.
Yeah. And you know what I think this is telling me personally?
Mhm.
I feel like it's telling me to approach this whole book a little less uptightly.
Yeah.
Because you're just mentioning how the scientist just doesn't really see other perspectives. They're very stuck, right? Or at least that's what I got. I
Yeah,
apologize
yeah,
if
yeah,
you
A
didn't say
bad scientist can
that.
be a scientist who does a good scientist is one who frees himself of concepts, and
Mhm.
then alternatively, a bad
A
scientist
bad, right.
is one that has and holds on to concepts
Right.
without opening their mind to what is.
And so, how can I approach this writing process the way a good scientist would? That's what
Right.
stood out for me, right? It's very hard to produce things that are going to impact other people, especially when you come from a background of entertainment. Because when you're
Mm,
on stage, it is definitely a performance. You are there for the public. And so you take an entire lifetime of behavior, and I mean entertaining and music and all of this that I grew up in. And it's like, okay, I know I'm a writer. I've been writing for years, but somehow this book, it's like I I know that that I was going to write a book since I was a little girl, and somehow somebody told me to write it, and I was like, "Whoa, this is it!" Like now this is happening, and
yeah.
then all this fear comes up, and it's like, "What the heck? I need to coach myself through this. I need to let it go. I need to release." And what you're telling me is very helpful. Aside from Trisha telling me my long lost pet told her last night that I should really be focusing on a book. She's like, I just see a book. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I know what it is. Don't worry.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that all resonates. And
Yeah,
then we have this next section which says, thus the master is available to all people and doesn't reject anyone. Now, when we talk about people here, we also have to recognize that people could be ideas and concepts as well, right? Ideas that we have, what is right now. We have to broaden that perspective, because when we say open to all people, like we just mean open. Like, right, the master is available to all. Let's get rid of the word people altogether. The master is available to everything,
beautiful.
doesn't reject anything. He is ready to use all situations and doesn't waste anything. This is called embodying the light. That means in your challenge right now, utilize the challenge. Don't waste
Right.
it.
Yeah, like how can I turn the challenge into something useful? Are you there?
Yeah, oh, and I'm here. I'm just
Oh,
sitting with it
sorry.
all. Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. It's so hard for me to sit with it because I'm
Yeah,
literally
I know.
walking
I
all
hear.
over the place.
Yes, 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 yes. I get that. I am blessed. I am blessed to be able to do that, and privileged in order in a space in order to be able to do that. And so, and I recognize that, and that's another reason why I, like, because I come here and I do
Mhm.
this. So it's
Yeah,
beautiful.
and
Now
this is why I
this
come at night when Elijah is asleep, and then during the
right,
day I can barely just be a guest. You know what I mean? It's
right,
like
yeah.
I can barely just be a guest, but I appreciate everyone so much for putting up with the noises in the background. And I just realized earlier you snuck in your age, and you and I are the same age, and that's kind of sweet. I love
Oh, well, I like
that.
that. Yeah. I'm like,
Yes.
go on. 75. What's up? Just
Mm,
for everybody, we are not 75 years old.
right. I
What
mean,
is,
speak for yourself. No, I'm kidding.
yeah. This final section goes, this final section is the great secret.
Right.
And it really does need some pulling apart. And so I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Like, what
Okay.
is a good man but a bad man's teacher? What is a bad man but a good man's job? If you don't understand this, you will get lost, however intelligent you are. It is the great secret.
I mean, I feel like that's pointing me to the beginning again. I don't know. Like to me,
Mm-hmm.
this is talking
Mm-hmm.
about my intention.
Yes, 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 yes.
It's like a cycle. We're going back to the beginning. Where are you coming from with this? Right? What are you trying to accomplish with this?
Yeah,
Um, who are you trying to teach or
right.
impress or please?
That's right. That's right.
Or
That's
not,
right.
right? I mean, when it comes to, I feel like part of the reason why I'm a little blocked in this thing is because I'm walking on eggshells about certain things that I felt were automatically going in this book, and now maybe I'm a little hesitant about it. And so maybe I should really listen to that intuition and just say, okay, well then you're not going in this book, and moving on to something else,
Yeah.
instead of just being, oh, but I really wanted this in the book. Oh, but I
Yeah.
really
Oh,
feel like this should be there. Yeah, right?
so exciting. Like, and you didn't mention it. I just want to bring it up. The beginning starts with these three entities: the traveler, the artist, and the scientist. But not just the traveler, the artist, and the scientist, but a good traveler, a
Right.
good artist, and a good scientist. When we come to the end here, we say, what is a good man? What is a good
Mhm.
traveler but a bad traveler's teacher?
Mhm.
What is a good
Mhm.
artist but a bad artist's teacher? What is a good scientist but a bad scientist's teacher? And when we look at these at the beginning, it says, a good traveler has no fixed plans and is not intent upon arriving.
Mhm. Mhm.
The bad
Right.
traveler is us when we have fixed plans.
Mhm.
The good
Yeah.
artist lets his intuition lead him wherever he wants. The bad artist is us trying to dictate where we're going.
Yes, so on point. Let me tell you, a year ago, my book, or I thought, right? Like I thought everything was pointing towards a very specific ending for this book.
Yeah.
And then life happened, and this quote unquote finale or ending or situation that needed to happen and didn't, it just didn't happen. And so, no, we're not going outside right now. Oh, he's going to go crazy because the guy just fumigated the entire backyard and we have to wait like 2 hours before going out. So he's about to go
Oh,
mad. Yeah. But anyway, thank you so much. What I was going to say is how it originally had an ending and then it didn't. And that's also part of the struggle, figuring out how else to complete it or close it, or at least bring it to a closure enough to be the ending of a book, right?
right.
Even if it's a continuation of my life, of course. I mean, this is not my life's work. Hopefully, there's more where that came from, and all blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But yes,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Martin John. I
Yeah.
really, I love that today we came, and 27 is my son's date of birth, and it just
Mm.
kept popping up when I was thinking of numbers, and so it must be for a reason. I appreciate you so much.
Oh, thank you so much,
Yes,
Graciela.
have a great
I'm good.
day, everyone.
And so I want to just chime in about Graciela's book before we bring on Dr. Robert, and just say, yes, a good artist I'm going to say her intuition lead her wherever it wants. that struggle that we have as creatives, that struggle that we have as people who, that struggle that we have with the depth of the feminine and wanting to put a structure around it, wanting to understand it, wanting to see it, can really get us stuck. But a good artist lets her intuition lead her wherever it wants. And then we go back to the end here. What is a good man but a bad man's teacher? What is a bad man but a good man's job? And that's our job. That's who we are. And as we can step into that and allow intuition to lead us rather than us having preconceived ideas of where we want to go and preconceived concepts as to what the world wants from us, we will flow forever with the Tao. Yeah, that's beautiful. Graciela, thank you so much for joining me. I'm glad that this worked for you, and I'm glad it worked for you. I know it will. I always do. I just have faith that it's always going to resonate. Thank you so much once again. All right, we're going to bring Dr. Robert in, and we're going to see what the good doctor has to say today. I always take my notes.
Great.
Dr. Robert, how are you, man?
Oh, great, man. That was a great reading. No, it was so good to tell. I said, oh, I got to hear Miles today. Then,
Oh,
yeah.
yes? Okay, well, beautiful. Which
Nine.
one was yours? Was yours 27?
No, after you read 27 and you said about the scientists and all of that, I was uh, counting my fingers, and no, and when you stopped, it was nine. So I'm going with nine.
All right. Well, there we have it then. Fill your bowl to the brim, and it will spill. Keep sharpening your knife, and it will blunt. Chase after money and security, and your heart will never unclench. Care about people's approval, and you're going to be their prisoner. Do your work and step back, the only path to serenity.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
My cousin said, James, what did you do to leave Arkansas? I said, I just didn't look back. I did what it took.
Mm. We look at this one, and the center, this middle section, chase after money and security, and your heart will never unclench, and care about people's approval, and you will be their prisoner.
Mm-hmm.
Those are strong. Those are really strong with this one. It's like, of course we want security. Of course we want to know what the future has for us. Of course we want money, and we want more. We kind of always want more. I was talking earlier about hungry ghosts. That's a Buddhist concept of things that will always ask for more, and yet never give anything, never give a
Okay.
sign that it's ever full.
Right.
Money is one of those things. Money is one of those things, and information is one of those things now, right? Like, the more information you have, the better, right? Like, how
Mm-hmm.
can that not be true, hungry ghost? You actually
That's
don't
right.
need any information, but once you start getting some, you need more. Care about people's approval, and you will always be their prisoner. The moment you start looking outside of yourself for approval, the moment you start looking outside of yourself and saying, hey, I want you to like me. Like Graciela was up here and we're talking
Mm-hmm.
about, like, being an entertainer, right? When you're an entertainer, when you entertain people, like, you do want their approval. That's actually part of the whole thing of being an entertainer. Like, if you don't have people's approval as an entertainer, you're not a good entertainer, right?
That's right.
How
Yeah.
many of our entertainers are prisoners to their fans? I
Hmm.
mean, we look up to them and love them and love them and love them and all of this stuff, but I mean, then we look at how many of those hurting performers, how many of those people that are hurting for approval get destroyed when they get canceled
That's
because
right.
they were the prisoner And they didn't even know it because, the cult of personality, as we understand it here in the United States today, is so deep. And the approval that they get, like, and that so many people want fame so they can move into that space of being approved of by
Mm-hmm.
people they don't even know. But then when those same people disapprove of them, they move into this kind of space of almost solitary confinement. They move into the space of like being separated from all the approval that they once had. These are two, that center part is really beautiful, and we have to relate it to the other two parts as well. And we have the fill your bowl to the brim and it will spill. Think about fame. I mean, if we want to kind of look at fame and people's approval and other things like that, fill your bowl
Mm-hmm.
to the brim and it will spill. And you're spilling the thing that you want so much of.
Yes.
It's, it's spilling, and that's interesting. I also think about, like, you can share that.
Uh-huh.
How
Uh,
many people? How many people don't? How many, like, famous people don't back younger folks? I mean, you often hear famous people speaking about themselves, not younger artists, not young, like, they're not doing that other thing. They fill their bowl and it will spill. Keep
d-
sharpening your knife and it will blunt. What are your thoughts?
my thoughts is well, the first one was fear and approval. You fear yourself, not being approved of yourself. So I also look at it as when you said my bowl is spilling over, I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking at it as what I done did, my surplus is spilling over to the point that it's going out, and I know it's going out good because that was my goal, you know, and as well as I'm living in a 5 bedroom home,
Right.
and so it's like all of it is coming together. The scientists, I say, as a scientist, I'm just as excited of being wrong as I am being right because I get to learn both sides. you know
Yeah.
and so and another thing, my grandmother as well as my mentor would always say, stick with the basics, you won't go wrong. and
Right.
uh and so it's like, hey, if I can help you, I will, but you have to accept it. And but if you are just doing it just to, oh, here, give it every time you ask him, and never better yourself, then I'm not going to go down with you. No, I've seen that path, and I choose not to go down that path. It's not that I went down that path, I've seen it. No, and I experienced it through other people's decide not to follow the lead that knowing that they what they really wanted, but they wanted to manipulate other people's, and keep them in that same path, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah, like that, So, but thank you, that was
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah,
And then, at the end here, it just says, do your work and step back. And that's such an important thing, like,
it is.
you don't, whether or not people approve of you or don't approve of you, or you have money or don't have money or whatever, like, really the thing that's important is that you do your work and
Hmm.
then step back. And that's it. Well, thank you so much, Doctor.
Oh, thank you. This has been fun. And this is fun. Just getting up, listening to different people. And I'll say, oh, the younger generation is following my lead. And it feels really great to the point that I want to get back out there and do it again. So,
Yeah.
just you mentioned the statement about the movie stars patting their own back, versus trying to support the younger generation, you know. So I mean, you're right. That is one thing that I'm looking forward to doing as I do, is like share my information, and if I can help someone out, I will, but hey, you have to want it. You have to accept it as well as I did,
Right.
and so it's like I tell my cousin, I just didn't look back. I did what it took to succeed, and so can everyone else. So, but thank you. And
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
okay, bye bye.
Bye bye. Okay. Well, nobody else is in line, but I did start way back when with number 63, and I was starting it over here. So I'm going to go back to 63, and we're just going to finish this up real briefly. If I can find it. Keep still. Don't work so hard. Learn to appreciate everyday life. Pay attention to details. Start smart and work your way up. Start small and work your way up. Like that's a big deal. We have to start just by doing something and staying consistent. Being consistent and being present in what we do is so important. When people give you trouble, let it slide. What's it matter? Do you really want to make a choice? Do you really want to stand by something that makes, like that you have to argue about? When people give you trouble, just let it, whatever, move on. And then that goes back to the one Dr. Robert and I were talking about, like, just do your work and step back. People give you trouble, whatever, let them do it. Let it slide. Break everything down into its essentials. Get the job done before it becomes a chore. So breaking down everything into its essentials, what I do here on the Tao is we go through it once and then we break it down into its essentials. But when we talk about our work, if you look at the big picture, big picture, big picture, and you don't break it down to its essential parts, then it becomes hard work. Get the job done before it becomes a chore. With the right preparation, difficult tasks can be completed with ease. Every major project consists of simple steps, so just take the next most obvious step. The masters don't take on more than they can handle. That's why they can do just about anything. You don't do more than you can handle, but you can handle everything. It's just about breaking it down. You might not be able to, whatever, you can do anything. Like it started with flying. Like we flew and then we went to the fucking moon and then we went to space and now we got like independent people like selling tickets to go to outer space. Like, yes, it's expensive, but it's possible. And 50 years ago, 46 years ago when I was a kid, space was just a fantasy. But here we are. Smile, if you guys understand the reference. Don't promise more than you can deliver. And don't underestimate the task. You'll only make things harder for yourself. That's right. Don't just think it's going to come to you easily, because it's not. But if you don't underestimate the task, you will be able to stand up to the task and the whole and the big picture will be able to get accomplished. The masters are always aware of the difficulties involved, which is why they never have to deal with them. I mean, that sums up so much. Like when we turn away from the difficulties, I'm not trying to say wallow in the difficulties. Nobody wants to be around a fucking pouty, you know I don't know. I'm trying to make up a nickname for somebody, but I don't have one. Nobody wants to be around people that are just like, oh, we gotta get ready for every possible disaster. Well, no, maybe not, but you have to be aware of them, right? Always aware of the difficulties involved, which is why they never have to deal with them, because they've been dealt with before. You're good. You're set. The difficulties, for me doing Tao of the Day might just be getting here every day. Another difficulty might be having to go through a day without having anybody as a guest. Another day is people don't like it. People don't understand it. People don't want to be a part of it. Those are all the difficulties. Now, one of the difficulties is getting off, because like So many people do want to be a part of it. And I want to, and it is a part of my life. And I really appreciate that. I appreciate what you guys bring to me, and I appreciate what the Tao offers me. So that's it for today. We got through 8 different DAOs today. Had Dr. Rao on as well, so 9 guests. And I appreciate your being here with me. I am Martin John, the Recovery Mentor. If you're interested in what I have to say, if you are looking for some real bomb coaching, and what I mean by bomb coaching is I only see my clients 4 times. It's very limited because I am all about you loving yourself and getting off the, getting out and doing what you need to do to live your life. I don't want you to live under the influence of me or anything else. And if you are living under the influence of something, I want to point that out so you can grow beyond it. So I talk about all of us recovering who we are. And so if you're out there living under the influence of your parents' old ideas, culture, economic system, like the education system, I want to help you grow out of that. And this is a very intense 4 sessions that I give people. And if you're interested in working with me, shoot me a DM on Instagram. I only work with a limited number of one-on-one clients every month. The reason I do that is because it is so intense, and you get opportunities to talk to me throughout the weeks that we work together. So, but there's only 4 sessions. There's 4 sessions, and you can have 2 30-minute phone calls throughout the month as well. And so, I want you guys to really flourish as who you are. When you recognize, as the Tao says, when you recognize there is no lack, then you recognize you in it all. All right. Thank you so much. Once again, I'm the Recovery Mentor, Martin John, host of the Recover Yourself podcast. And until next time, keep recovering yourself.